We are behind the wheel, well, I'm behind the wheel, you're just over there, of Lyn Woodward's 1966 Datsun Roadster. As you may know, Lyn and I work together over at Kelley Blue Book on the KBB YouTube channel, so please go subscribe if you haven't. Coming up a little bit later, you're going to learn a mind-blowing fact about Lyn. But first, information explosion!
I love the smell of gasoline.
Is that normal?
Yeah.
As we slowly ease into a gasoline haze interior.
Yes.
Lyn, we've landed in the interior section.
Okay, so the great thing about the early Datsuns, they have this beautiful metal dashboard, and yes, it's gorgeous. It checks out. But the toggle switches on here, I think, are just beautiful. They kind of are reminiscent to me a little bit of like old airplane switches, which I think are amazing. I love even the typeface in these gauges, which is so beautiful and old school, obviously.
There are two things I love about the interior of your car. One, the gauges bounce like the gauges in my Enstrom helicopter.
That's because they're broken.
Totally analog, sort of flopping around. We're doing anywhere between 20 and 30 miles an hour right now. I don't know. And then the other thing is that the interior in a car like this is also the exterior. I talked about this in my S2000 video, where oftentimes if you're driving a convertible and the header comes far enough back, it just feels like you're driving a very windy coupe.
Yeah.
But in this car, you are definitely driving a convertible. Visually, you see nothing but sky and you feel wind, but also it's so thin here. There's just no material.
So don't roll this car, please, because
otherwise
we will lose our heads.
I won't. So modern seats tend to have a little bit more side bolstering. I feel like I could probably slide out of this, but
good thing you have the lap belt.
That'll hold me in place.
Safety third here, people.
Mm-hmm. So
these are actually not the original seats. They were redone. So a lot of this car is a little bit of a Frankenstein. So there's not a ton of like all original parts on this car, which I'm fine with.
Sorry, Lyn, I have to interrupt. Needless full throttle acceleration. Oh. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I noted this when I was driving an old 300D, that there's a bounce and a squish to them that you don't find in... Also, it moves the entire vehicle, I'm just noticing.
Like 2,000 pound car.
Yeah, but that give aligns with the contours of my body. I feel like your car fits me pretty well.
I have actually driven this on a fairly long road trip to the Datsun Roadster show in Solvang. And I gotta say, 2 hours in this was pretty comfortable.
Climate control, what are our options? I'm seeing open and shut.
Heat. And you get heat and then open top. That's it.
That's it. It's really elemental.
But you turn the heater on with this little toggle switch here.
God, I love a toggle.
And yeah, the heat actually works very well.
Armrest test. Inboard, we've got a fair bit of squish here, under which I think there's actual metal. So it looks like it'd be cozy, kind of not, but if you disperse the weight around a little bit, it's pretty good. Outboard, there is no armrest, and with the window up, there's nowhere to put it. I'm gonna give that one elbow kind of in the middle.
But your hands are at 9 and 3, so you don't need an armrest.
I'm not sure if this is a 9 and 3 car. I feel like this might be more of an 8 and 4 shuffle car. Whee! Lyn, tell me about cargo. So there's a little bit of a nook in here. Where else can you store gear?
There's a little bit of a space back here, so when the roof is up, you do have, this is not a jump seat, so this is not suitable for humans, but you can put a few things back here like bags, but I do have a trunk that's a fairly decent size for a small car such as this. Oh, that looks like that just happened.
Huh.
Yikes.
Yay, I didn't hit something with your car.
Some PVC piping in the road.
Hey guys, do you like Lyn Woodward? I like Lyn Woodward. If you like Lyn Woodward, please like and subscribe to my channel. Do those things have anything to do with each other? No, they don't.
Can I point down here where my potential Instagram thing is?
Future Evie has put Lyn's Instagram handle down there. Please follow her. You can see what she's driving when she's not driving this car, which is almost all the time.
Yeah, she doesn't drive it as much as she'd like to, but yes.
Exterior.
Okay, you're gonna make a right here, but it's a hard right. So, and there's a weird thing, and you're gonna go up here, and yes!
Yeah, muscle it around.
We are officially on Mulholland Drive now.
Yay! Oh, thank God, this is gonna be fun. So, tell me about the exterior styling of your Datsun.
One of the things that I love the most is the tail lights. There's kind of a double tail light setup, which I think is really elegant and beautiful. If you also look, the rear track of the wheels is narrower than the front track of the wheels, which I find very fascinating. I think a lot of people look at these cars and initially think, oh, it's a British motor car from the 1960s.
Yeah.
And they think that the Japanese actually ripped off the MG, which the original 1500 came out a couple of months before that MG did. So there was just some parallel thinking going on. But this one is, I just think, something very special, and it makes everybody smile when I drive by.
There's like the right amount of chrome, and there are badges on the front fenders. What do those badges say, Lyn?
They say Fair Lady.
Fair Lady. Is that the proper name, or what should I call this?
It was in Japan. It really did not translate very well over here in the United States because men did not want to drive a car called a Fair Lady.
Come on, guys, get over yourself. Your dated versions of what masculinity looks like.
That's right.
I'll happily drive a Fair Lady.
But most of the people in the community do call this like the 1600 Roadster, the Datsun 1600 Roadster.
This thing is so tiny, and when you see it in traffic, out amongst the other cars, it has this charm. It's almost like when you see a baby Yoda. You know, you just kind of want to give it a hug. Maybe we've stumbled on our synopsis. Two final exterior thoughts. Tell us about the top and how easy it is to take off and to put on, or I guess to raise and lower.
It's all manual, of course, but it's not really that difficult. Sometimes if I haven't had it off or on for a while, then woo!
You need more side bolstering.
I do. Then it gets kind of stiff. I think that's mostly just that because I need to grease up the top. It's either up or down. I mean, I don't really do a whole lot of back and forth with it.
Lastly, tell me about damage. I noticed a couple of spots.
So this was on a flatbed, and there was an arm, like a security arm, and a gate, and I went through it, and the guy on the tow truck did not wait for the arm to come down and go up again, and so the arm came down and it slammed onto the front passenger fender of my car. So that was a fairly heartbreaking and let's call it an emotionally explosive moment for Lyn.
Let's do a little role play here. Hey, I don't know about your fender. Sorry about that. I'm just a tow truck driver.
Okay, he did shoot like 10 or 15 minutes of footage of it, and I did call him, I said, all right, this is not your Scorsese movie. So
thanks, Sensi.
I wasn't happy, but it's going to get fixed, and my insurance company, Haggerty, is amazing, and I already have a check for it, so.
I'm glad you already have a check.
Yeah.
And I'm also glad that Future Heavy has put my handle down here at the bottom. Hey, do you guys want to see what I'm driving or flying between YouTube videos on either KBB's channel or my channel? Follow me on Instagram. Lyn Woodward demands it. Isn't that right, Lyn?
I do.
In motion. Item number one, let's talk about the powertrain. We've got not a lot of horsepower. In fact, I'm floored right now, and there we go. I'm gaining. I am technically gaining, but what you don't realize when you drive until you drive an older car is that modern cars are all pretty darn powerful. You drive like the lamest minivan now, it'll like chirp the tires. Everything's pretty quick these days. Comparatively speaking, this is not a speed demon.
No. So this engine, it's obviously 1600cc engine. It's a dual carb engine. It's an inline 4. It's not particularly robust. I think it made. I don't know if it does. I haven't dynoed it, obviously, but when it was new, it made 102 horsepower. So it's
triple digits
not
ain't bad.
Plus, we have a 4-speed manual transmission. So, I try and keep things, especially when I'm cruising around the sweet spot of like 4,500 RPM, which really gives me a top cruising speed between 50 and 55 miles an hour.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the transmission. The heel-toe downshifts are pretty darn easy.
That was something that I wanted to actually mention. The pedals are so nicely positioned together that this is the place where I practice all of my heel-toe work.
A couple of follow-ups on that. The transmission, the play is ample. So it just sort of flops back and forth. There's a lot of movement back and forth, and yet it's still really easy to find the gear that you need to be in. As far as the brakes are concerned, they feel a little wooden and take a lot of effort. Why would that be, Lyn?
These are old drum brakes, but you know what? Again, this is a 2,000-pound car. There are definitely a lot of owners who modify these, who put bigger engines in them, and I'm just not that kind of person. I want to try and keep it as original as possible. The only thing I would love to do, though, is to put a 5-speed transmission in this, just for freeway cruising speeds. But other than that, you know, I'm really happy.
What's wonderful is getting to drive a car where full throttle, Neil's full throttle acceleration, here we go, is a viable option. I'm not breaking any laws. I'm not going to arouse suspicions from the cops, and yet I get to exploit the maximum potential of the engine. That's just fun.
And I have to say, I think this engine sounds pretty good.
It does, yeah. Quick observation, clutch efforts are manageable. I have no problem with that. Lefty's getting a light workout.
That's because Lyn replaced the clutch master and slave cylinders.
So I'm going to do a little U-turn here. To note, this is not power-assisted steering. So if you really want to get those buff, give us a flex, Lyn. See what you got. Yeah, if you want to get Lyn Woodward arms, buy a Datsun Roadster. But once you get moving, the efforts are fine. Steering is interesting because it's this old, thin steering wheel. So you've got all this leverage because it's a large wheel, but it's odd having like, it feels so dainty, you know?
It does feel dainty.
Also metal, real metal.
Metal, and press the horn in the middle. Oh.
Hey, that got it.
The horn sometimes works.
The horn also sounds bigger than the car.
Yes, that's funny.
Got a little S-curve here. So I've driven much faster cars, and yet this is the best version of driving fun, which is you get to feel like you're hauling ass and you're doing like somewhere between 20 and 30 miles an hour. This is so much more engaging than almost any modern car I've driven. That's the thing, is that when you look at cars, you think about the numbers because that's easy to understand and compare, but that doesn't tell the story at all.
Yeah.
Emotion factor. Lyn, tell me about the emotional component of owning a Datsun Roadster.
It's pretty high. I mean, for me, when I first saw this car, it was at a car show, and it was not that long ago. I had not realized that a car like this even existed. And I saw it, and I walked up to it, and I thought, that's a Datsun? Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
And I'd had the car in my mind ever since. So it obviously, it tugged on me very, very significantly when I first saw it, and it kind of never left my brain.
To me, there's two key emotional triggers that are firing here. One is the style. I mean, it just looks so cohesively charming and of the era. And then the other one is the driving experience, which is representative of a simplicity and an authenticity that doesn't really exist much these days. So yeah, the emotion factor is strong. Remarks! As we ease into the remarks section, let me remind you, because it's been 3 to 5 minutes since I've done so, please like and subscribe. Did you like the fact that I just ground gears when shifting into third in Lyn's poor Datsun Roadster?
That's the thing about this car, though, is it may look delicate, but it is not that delicate flower. I mean, it can kind of take a beating just because of the way that the Japanese made cars back then. These are fairly robust little things.
Do you like robust little things? Be sure to like and subscribe.
Oh, God. Yikes.
I think we can knock out the family-friendly question pretty quickly. Lyn, would you say your Datsun Roadster is family-friendly?
No.
No! Contributing to that lack of family-friendliness is the fact that there are only 2 seats, obviously, and then the other big component is the complete lack of safety. The seatbelt situation, you have lap belts, and that is it.
Yeah.
It's so weird driving a car without a shoulder strap. And the other thing I know with the lap belts is that, I mean, yeah, they'll keep you from flying out, but they also act as a perfect lever to lean your face into all this stuff.
Or slice you completely in half.
So safety, not great, but
Third.
still, look at it. It's so charming.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about the problems you've had.
I did have a little bit of an oil leak that required some gasket changing, so I changed the gasket in the cam cover, or the rocker box, however you like to call it. The oil pan gasket was changed. At some point, I think the rear main seal is going to have to be switched out. That's a big job, pulling the entire engine, so we're going to hold off on that until we have to.
And to be clear, you do like the work on your car yourself.
Yes, I mean, I definitely have a couple of friends who are mechanics,
Yeah.
who know a lot about cars, who help me, and who are the ones who are like, this is what we need to do here, but I do all of the work myself, and I like that I do that because it helps me become more familiar with the car, and I've actually fallen in love with this car more because of doing all of that work.
Lyn, can I tell you my favorite features of your car?
Yes.
The mirrors.
Oh yeah.
The
yeah,
mirrors
that's
on the
pretty
fenders, and then the rear view right here in the center inside the car. That is so cool. Lyn,
Yes.
so can I ask you a personal question?
good. Yes, I may not answer it, but yes, you can.
Do you have, approximately speaking, about how much did you pay for your Datsun Roadster?
I paid, let's call it more than 10 and less than 15.
Do you think it's going to hold its value?
Well, it's already gone up in value since I've bought it, which is
Ooh.
quite marvelous.
Look at you, the car investor.
I know, right? It's crazy. This is not a depreciating asset.
Does the tape player work?
Yes, I have Frank Sinatra,
No, we can't afford the royalties.
I know we can't
Frank,
afford
you
them.
stay in the glove compartment.
but I do have cassettes.
Yeah. So when you get the feeling, you can rock the Kenwood.
Yes,
Sick.
I can. I do have, I mean, classical music, it does lend itself to sort of lovely,
Are the speakers only in the back?
yeah. But it was upgraded, so obviously the Kenwood did not come stock on this thing in 1966. And it's little things like that that, again, they make this not an all original kind of show car, but I don't care because I like driving it and I don't want it to be so precious that I feel weird about driving it.
God, yes. Yeah.
Little chirp.
Let me quickly remind you, if you like this video, please like it and leave a comment. Also, if you haven't subscribed to Micah Drives, be sure to subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed to Kelley Blue Book's YouTube channel, where you can see both Lyn and I do amazing video reviews, I'll just say life-changing video reviews.
Yes.
Let's pat ourselves on the back
That's
there.
right.
Be sure to subscribe over to KBB's channel, Synopsis. You know, sometimes you have to really work for the synopsis. Other times, it just comes about in a stream of consciousness while blasting along in Mulholland. I think for its cuteness, its ubiquitous appreciation with literally everyone, your Datsun Roadster, to me, is the baby Yoda of cars. It's just so delightful. Is that crazy?
It's not crazy. I've had people pull over, get out of their cars, and come up to this car and tell me, oh my gosh, I drove one of those in college, or when I was growing up, my dad had one of those. And the joy that I see on other people's faces makes my ownership of this 10 times better than if it didn't happen. I love that it starts conversations. I love that it makes people happy, that it makes them smile when I'm even driving down the street. So,
oh my gosh, I just remembered something.
Yeah.
Lyn,
Yeah.
I teased something at the very beginning of the video
You did?
that I was going to reveal a mind-blowing secret about you. Tell everybody what you did as a kid.
oh, I did television stuff when I was a little kid, back in the 70s and 80s. Waltons, and I did an episode of Battlestar Galactica.
ESG.
All the nerds will love that. I love it too.
She was a child actor. I've seen the footage. She was good too. She was really good. I just love how you cannot anticipate where your life is going to go.
No.
Yeah, from child actress to a zillion different careers to my compadre at KBB.
Yeah.
Man, what a life.
It's been amazing. Wouldn't change a thing.
Mm.
It's like every single step has led to this. It's weird. I mean, it's awesome.
I have a question for you. Should we have Lyn Woodward out for a Micah Flies? This Bentley wants to be crashed into by a
That's
Datsun
right.
Roadster. Should we have Lyn on Micah Flies? We can go learn a little bit about her, learn what makes her tick, go fly the helicopter a little bit. Is that a good idea? If so, let us know in the comments section. Hey Lyn, come get your high five.
Yes!
You too. Bam!
So Woody is my nickname. It has been for a long time, and I also own a Mitsubishi Montero. So Woody's Datsun and Mitsubishi service
Yay!
at your service.